Royal noble consort Suk of the Harajucho clan was one of the best-known royal concubines of King Sukjong of Joseon. The future royal noble consort Suk was born in 1670 on the 6th day of the 11th lunar month in the 11th year of the reign of Hyunjong of Joseon. She was the younger daughter of Cho Hyowon and Lady Hong of Namyang. She had one older brother, Cho Dong-hu, who married Lady An of Sanyang, and one older sister who married Seojin. She entered the palace at the age of 7. She belonged to the Chonmin class, which was the lowest class during the Joseon dynasty. How she and the king had their first encounter is unknown. The most accepted version is that she was a mujeri, that is a water maid, in the palace, that is a palace slave, during the time when Queen In-yeon was deposed and exiled, and the concubine, Jang Hui-bin, had acquired the status of queen. One night, Choi Suk-bin was praying for Queen In-yeon's well-being when King Sukjong of Joseon, who was returning to the palace from a trip, overheard her and was moved by her words. The book Iee authored by Yi Mung-jung describes the events that led to the execution of Jang Hui-bin. The author, who lived during Sukjong's time, recorded the encounter as follows: One night, the king, Sukjong could not unregistered trademark T sleep, and suffering from insomnia decided to go out. When returning to the palace and passing by the servants' chambers, he suddenly heard sobbing coming from a small room. Out of curiosity, he took a peep into the room. Then to his surprise, in this neat and tidy room, he saw there was a set-up of an offering for a banquet. He then saw a young palace mujeri dressed in her official uniform, weeping bitterly in front of the table set for a memorial ritual. The memorial tablet was set for the former Queen In-yeon. The king was surprised, since Queen In-yeon had been deposed. The mujeri had placed the memorial tablet because the deposed Queen In-yeon had sacrificed herself for the king's sake. But fearing Queen Jang Hui-bin's influence, no one dared to commemorate the deposed Queen In-yeon, as no one wanted to be accused and executed. The king was surprised that even under these perilous circumstances someone dared to risk death to honor and pray for Queen In-yeon's unregistered trademark's well-being, and he spoke to her. The mujeri heard his voice, and turning around, was stunned to see the king. Recognizing him, she knelt before him and he asked her for an explanation. The mujeri answered with a trembling voice, "Oe Kom Na, I used to serve under Queen In-yeon when she was queen. Today is her birthday, I cannot forget the kindness that Queen In-yeon rendered to me when I served under her, thus privately I set a memorial for her. Please punish me with death." Hearing such an extreme plea, the king was taken aback and was astonished. Others in her situation would have played safe and not put themselves at risk, but this mujeri risked death to honor her former queen. Commendable and virtuous indeed was she, and the king, finding himself witnessing this, was moved. He then brought the young mujeri to his bedchambers. His feelings turned from sympathy into fondness and then into love, and he spent many nights with her. Over time, this mujeri came to be known as Cho Suk-bin. Favored by the king, in the 4th lunar month of the 19th year of King Sukjong's reign, she became Sukjong's concubine with the rank of Suk-won, after giving birth to a prince who died young. In 1694, during the 20th year of Sukjong's reign, she was elevated to the rank of Suki after giving birth to a son, Prince Yining. In 1695, she was again elevated to the rank of Guiyin. In 1698, she gave birth to another prince who died in childbirth. In 1699, she was again promoted to the rank of Bin, with the adjective Suk, meaning pure. Lady Cho openly supported Queen In-yeon and was against Jang Hui-bin, who history remembers as an evil and cruel woman. By 1693, the king was growing disillusioned by Jang Hui-bin and the southerner faction. In 1694, King Sukjong brought back Queen In-yeon and demoted Jang to Hui-bin. In 1701, Queen In-yeon died of unknown causes. Some historiographers believe she was poisoned, but this is unconfirmed. According to one version, Sukjong found Jang Hui-bin in her room with a Korean shaman, making merry over having caused the queen's death through black magic. Another interpretation based on a vague passage of the annals of the Joseon dynasty states that it was Cho Suk-bin who told the king that sorcery had been used to try to bring harm to the queen. Under the title, Queen's Will, it is written, Oegon quote, Choi Sook-bin with her usual grace gives tribute to the Queen, and weeping for the one that could not win the heart of the king, she informed the king of the secret. This could mean that Cho was merely delivering the Queen's last words. Yet, rumor in the palace was that Jang Hui-bin had been using a shaman to curse Queen In-yin. According to Min Chien-won, Queen In-yin came to know about these rumors, and in the annals of Joseon recorded in 1701, Min Chien-won and Min Chien-hu informed King Sukjong of Jang Hui-bin's sorcery, claiming that in doing so they were in compliance with Queen In-yin's last request to them before dying. However, regardless how the king came to know about this, he decided to look into the matter and discovered the truth behind the rumors that Jang Hui-bin had built a shamanist altar between her quarters, where effigies with the name of In-yin were found. Later, her ladies-in-waiting declared that she had ordered them to shoot arrows at a portrait of Queen In-yin 3 times a day, and had buried dead animals under the Queen's garden palace. Despite the many pleas of the Southerner party to pardon her, King Sukjong felt her conduct was so wicked, and in 1701 ordered that she and all the others involved should die by poison. After sentencing her, King Sukjong passed a law forbidding a concubine with the rank of bin to become queen. A misunderstanding exists that Choi Sook-bin was the next on line to become queen, but this had no basis. The next to become queen was royal noble consort Young of the Kim clan. In addition, other concubine, royal noble consort Myong of the Miryangpok clan, daughter of the Yangban class, gave birth to a prince in 1699 and was probably more suited for the title of queen after royal noble consort Young of Kim clan. Choi Sook-bin's lower-class status as a musury was an impediment to her in becoming a queen, as the Confucian society was ruled by a class system. We can clearly see this on the life of King Yongjo, who was threatened in the beginning of his rule partially because of his mother's class. Later, when his rulership was firmly established, he considered it a personal insult if his mother's background as a slave was mentioned. Her only surviving son was Prince Yining, who was known to be a child prodigy and became one of the greatest kings in Joseon. King Sukjong was very proud of his son with Lady Cho, and his treatment of him tended towards the lavish. But because Yongjo had been born from a low-born concubine, all the officials who were born in noble houses and had noble wives maintained a condescending view of the prince and his mother, and were quick to lecture Sukjong on frugality and modesty. However, the king ignored them. In 1704, the king celebrated the wedding of Prince Yining with a grand and lavish party, but again, the ministries complained about the excessive favoritism the king showed to the prince. Later the same year, the king gave his winter house, a Yeon Palace, as a gift to Choi Sook-bin. Although Yongjo in his adulthood was very sensible about the origins of his mother, one cannot deny the deep love he had for his birth mother, Choi Sook-bin. His reverence for his mother had no limit. He wrote her many poems and said in one of them, "My father begot me, my mother fed me, led me, bred me, brought me up, reared me, kept her eye on me, tended me, at every turn aided me. Their good deeds I would requite." Yongjo fought at court to have his mother Choi Sook-bin recognized as a public mother, but she was like other concubines or mothers of kings but regarded as a reprobate mother of the king. But Yongjo wanted to change that and have her as his a public mother. However, the officials were opposed to making her a public parent, as this meant the ministers would have to honor her and gave the king the right to visit her tomb often as a part of his royal ceremonies. During the time he was fighting this, there are 2 interesting accounts of his feelings about this situation. In 1739, the day before the scheduled visit to Choi Sook-bin's tomb, dissatisfied with the protocols that the Board of Rites had drawn up, he censured 2 officials who were directly responsible for them. The Silok explains the measure. The king respectfully served his private parent, Choi Sook-bin, but he suspected that the officials were unwilling to comply with his desire. Thus, on each occasion sudden clashes erupted, inevitably followed by a distressing royal declamation. On another occasion, the king was leaving her tomb for the palace. About to mount the palanquin, he instead summoned the Minister of Military Affairs, Kim Son-gung. Breaking into sobs, he said, since 1737, this was the first time I came to pay respect to my mother. for those years, my heart has been filled with sadness. When children fall down, they automatically call out for their mother. This is human nature. At the time of divination, if there is no person offering earth, how can there be a divination? I have sent down orders, to make his birth mother a public or legal mother, but the bureaus in charge have ignored them. True, the ruler is not allowed to have private concerns, but it is wrong to lose trust in his officials. The elite scholars of today are just too cold-hearted. Those elite scholars must also have parents. They could not have fallen from heaven or sprung from earth. In the end, he got what he wanted and Cho Suk-bin was made Yongjo's public mother. In 1699–1702, royal noble consort Suk-bin of Cho clan was the principal benefactor of the Gokwaeunjeon Hall in Weomsa Temple. In 1703, Queen In-won adopted Prince Yeoningum, who was known to be her favorite and who she regarded as her own son. In 1704, the Annals of Joseon stated that for Yeoningum's marriage, the king ordered a very expensive wedding. The nobles complain about the expensive cost of the wedding. In 1704, the Annals of the Joseon dynasty state that Sukjong bestowed Choi Suk-bin in Yeon Palace, which he later conferred to his son to consummate his marriage in 1711. It is said it was a large and spacious building located in Seoul. In 1711, when Queen In-won came down with smallpox, Cho ordered the Gunnaeo to go out to the palace and look for remedies among the commoners to save the queen, who in the end survived. In 1716, Cho Suk-bin was taken out of the palace while ill. Later that same year, Sukjong received a message from Yeoningum informing him that his mother's health had worsened and asking for more medical help. In 1717, Sukjong retired from politics and allowed his son, the Crown Prince, to take care over most of the affairs of the government. In 1718, the royal noble consort Cho Suk-bin died at the age of 49 in Incheon Palace. That same year, Sukjong declared the Crown Prince Gyeongjong as regent, who ruled in his stead. In her memorial tablet, under the description of her character it is written, her disposition and her status was absolutely indivisible. She did not scruple on people. She was respectful and always waited on Queen In-yeon and later on Queen In-won. Her wisdom and intelligence shined on her interaction with others. She kept to her duty and protocol. She never entered in palace disputes. She spent her days in peace and harmony. She is buried in Soyeongwon in Punjab, designated as Historical Site No. 358. Sukjong died in 1720, supposedly after telling Yi Myung to name Prince Yeoning as Gyeongjong's heir. When her son became king, Yongjo set up a jisal to grieve over her death near her grave as a display of his deep filial piety. In addition to building tablet houses on the 4 spots around her grave, he also erected gravestones, the contents of which were written by him in her memory. Her memorial tablet was enshrined in the Sukbimo, later called Yuksangmyo, and Chilgung, the place which houses the ancestral tablets of 7 royal concubines, all of whom were birth mothers of kings that never achieved the status of a queen. Cho was given the posthumous title Lady Wagyeong, royal noble consort Suk of the Cho clan. She was raised to the posthumous titles of Hwagyung in 1753, and was again elevated to Huidok and Son. Family Ancestors Great-great-grandfather, Cho Eok-ji. Great-grandfather, Cho Mal-jung. Paternal grandfather, Cho Tae-il. Paternal grandmother, Lady Jang of the Pyongyang Jang clan. Maternal grandfather, Hong Ji-ye Nam. Maternal grandmother, Lady Kim. Father, Cho Hyo-won. Mother, Lady Hong of the Namyang Hong clan. Brother, Cho Don-ju. Royal noble consort Sukbo King Sukjong 3 sons, Prince Yeon-su, died young. Prince Yeoning, later became King Yongjo, and named son, died young. In popular culture, portrayed by Lee Mi-young in 1981 MBC TV series Women of History, Jang Hui-bin. Portrayed by Kyeon Mi-ri in 1988 MBC TV series 500 Years of Joseon, Queen In-yeon. Portrayed by Nam Joo-hee in 1995 SBS TV series Jang Hui-bin. Portrayed by Park Ye-jin in 2002 KBS 2 TV series Royal Story, Jang Hui-bin. Portrayed by Han Hyo-joo in 2010 MBC TV series Dong Yi. Portrayed by Han Sung-yin in 2013 SBS TV series Jang Ok-young, Living by Love. References